Hi everybody, this is Boogest Reviews, and today I'm going to be doing a review on the McFarlane DC Multiverse Superman from Action Comics 1000. So, before I start this review, I wanted to say that I hope everybody is doing alright. Everybody's doing okay, because since I did my last video, things have gotten pretty crazy out there. So I hope everybody is doing fine. So now, let's go ahead and take a look at Superman's accessories. He does come with quite a few accessories. First up, you get this trading card. I think it's cool that McFarlane is putting these with each figure. It's made of a pretty heavy material. But there you get the art from Action Comics 1000 right there. And you get a fact file, or a data file. If you want to read that, you can go ahead and pause that there. And up next, he comes with his stand. And all the DC Multiverse figures come with a stand, but this one also functions as a flight stand. As you can see, there's this flight attachment that you can attach to the base. And I wasn't able to detach it here, so it must be one of those things that once you attach it in there, you won't be able to take it out, which doesn't bother me. So if you want to, his foot doesn't really want to go in there the greatest. But once you get it in there, it will stay. So it's a little tough to get that in there, but it will stay really well. And of course, you can take this, you open the clamp like so, slide it under his cape, and attach it to his leg or his waist or whatever you want to attach it to. And there you can have Superman on the flight stand. Of course, that's not a great pose, but you get the idea. I've already used the flight stand for Superman, and it holds him up really well. I was surprised. Of course, I won't only use this for DC figures. I'll use it in a lot of my action figure photography. So yeah, I thought that was a pretty awesome accessory for him to come with. And finally, he comes with an alternate pair of hands. You get this fisted hand and this open hand. And people were complaining about this because they're like, why does Superman need a trigger finger? But I think it's more for if you want it to hold any accessories. I don't have the animated Superman, but I'm wondering if you can use the that crushed girder that he comes with in this hand for this Superman. But anyways, he comes with two alternate open hands. You can use them for relaxed hands or for flying hands. And let's put this one on. And they slide on really easily. I really like this type of joint right here. Because it definitely doesn't feel like it's going to break. It's not thin or anything like some previous McFarlane figures have been. Like the Stranger Things figures. They have interchangeable hands, and the peg is so thin. I actually snapped a few of the pegs off trying to change the hands. So I'm glad McFarlane has improved upon those. So there you have him. If you want, you can use these for flying hands while he's on that base. Let's get him like that. So you could do that if you wanted to. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the head sculpt. I absolutely love this head sculpt. McFarlane Toys absolutely nailed this head sculpt. My only complaint is the hair right here. You get a little bit of gappage around the ear right here and the sideburns. And it's a little glossy. I wish it would have been a little less glossy, but that's not a huge complaint. I do love the shading that they put on it, though. They put some blue shading over the black, and that brings out a lot of the details. It just looks really nice. And they also did a really good job on the face, the sculpt and color of it. And if you look, the skin tone is painted on here, but they actually painted on some, like a pinkish color over top of the skin tone right here. And that just gives it some nice color variation. I think they did a nice job with the color variation on his face. I just wish they would have done the same thing to his neck and his hands. His hands are just, pretty plain skin tone. But they did add some color variation here, especially under the eyes and the cheekbones right here. But yeah, I really like this head sculpt. And for the Superman logo right there on his chest, you get the metallic red with that flat yellow underneath. And I just really love how that metallic red looks. I really wish Hasbro would start using this color on top of all the Iron Man figures. Cast it in red and then paint this over top of it. That would look really nice. But I really love how that looks. I love the contrast between the two collars. The cape is done in it's a pretty soft rubber, so, you know, you can lift it up and put the flight stand under it. But it's pretty soft. And it looks really good. All the wrinkles sculpted in looks nice. It kind of looks dramatic, like it's flowing in the wind. And I like the way that looks. And you get some lines sculpted on his side here. And let me get in here closer. There's a texturing right there, like a mesh texturing right here that runs up his side. And that looks pretty good. You get this line right here on the arm sculpted on. For the shorts right here, it is a separate piece. It reminds me of how NECA does the separate crotch piece that's kind of the soft rubber. And this is a little harder plastic, but it does tend to shift up and down when you're moving it. But it reminds me of NECA, how they do that separate piece so you can get more articulation right here. So, you get some yellow painted on there for the belt. And then you get his boots that have some sculpt detail to them. And they're painted on pretty well. And I also wanted to say, these are the first McFarlane toys I've bought in a while. And they're using these new, well, I don't know if they're new. They're new to me, I should say. Ball joints right here. And they're kind of just like hands. It's a ball joint, but it gives you a lot of range of motion. You just have to, you know, if you want it to act as an ankle rocker, you just have to move it that way. So that's about all to go over with this Superman figure. So now let's go over his articulation. He has some pretty good articulation. He has a ball-jointed head that can look up just about all the way. He can look down just a little more. You can move his head side to side. It does tend to stick, though. A certain way you turn it, it will stick right there. But he can move side to side. And you can also get some head tilting. He has ball-jointed shoulders that can move all the way out. He has butterfly joints right here, but they don't move that much. If you really force it, you can get it to move, especially back and forth. And with the Batman, it can move up and down, the Batman figure. But I'm not getting that with Superman. It doesn't want to move up or down, but it does move back and forth just slightly. He has swivel to bicep, single jointed elbows that can just about bend in all the way. These ball jointed wrists that can move down all the way, up all the way, side to side. And if you turn it around this way, you can also get it hinging up and down. And it is a bit of a crunchy joint, but I don't really mind because you get a lot of good articulation out of that. He has a ball jointed diaphragm that can move back just slightly and down just about all the way. And it can also move side to side. He has a ball joint down here in his waist. So you can get him crunching forward all the way with a combination of that torso joint and that waist joint. And he can move back all the way. But you do get a gap right there. And on the top of the belt there, you get a gap. He has ball jointed hips that can do a complete split. As you can see there. So if you want a Superman figure that can do splits, he can do that. He's supposed to have a swivel at the hip, but it swivels just slightly. The Batman figure's hips swivel really nicely. You get a lot of articulation from the hips in him, and I'm pretty sure they're the same type. They look like the same type to me, those type of joints. But yeah, it doesn't swivel that much, you just get a little bit. You have a double jointed knee that can bend in all the way. You have those ball jointed ankles that can move down all the way, up all the way, and side to side. And if you move it this way, you can have it function as an ankle rocker. And he even has toe articulation that can move up all the way, and it does move down, but you really don't need it to. But yep, he has toe articulation. I feel like it's been forever since I've seen a figure with toe articulation. So the articulation is pretty good on this figure. It does have some drawbacks, particularly right here in the hips, and right there on those butterfly joints. But I really don't mind it. I don't think the articulation is that bad. A lot of people aren't really fans of these figures, but the figures I have so far, which are Batman, Superman, and the Batman Who Laughs, I'm a really big fan of these. So now, let's do some size comparisons. So first up, here he is next to the DC Multiverse from Mattel, Rebirth Superman. And as you can see, they are very different in scale. The McFarlane Superman is done in a 7-inch scale, and the Mattel one is done in a 6-inch scale. But I don't really mind the 7-inch scale. Here he is next to the NECA Preacher figure. Here he is next to the DC New 52 Wonder Woman. And she scales with him. And finally, here he is next to the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Batman. And Batman is taller than him, and I don't think that's quite accurate. But it doesn't bother me that bad. So, overall, I would highly recommend this DC Multiverse Superman figure. I think it is a great addition. And I can't wait to see what other characters McFarlane does. So yeah, I'm very pleased with this figure. So that's my review. If you like this review, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.